As promised, we talked earlier about having a guest in the studio. So today we have Kobie, who did a refinance about a year ago. And what we want to do is we want to ask him some of the things that he went through during his refinance. So one of the things that we're going to focus on are real life practical experiences of people who've gone through this process. Because again, our goal is to get you to look at your rate, find out where you are, and take action if the rates go back down. Right now, you can't get a great rate, but maybe in a couple months or maybe a year, the rates may go back down. And again, the goal of this show is to prepare you to take advantage of the market when that happens. So today, again, we're going to talk to Kobie about his process and how everything went for him. So Kobie, thank you, first of all, for being on the show. Really appreciate it, man.
No problem. No problem.
So let's jump right in. I'm going to ask you one simple question. First off, how'd you hear about refinances?
Well, it was a couple of conversations I was having, and I jumped in to get a refinance with my credit union.
Mm-hmm.
And when I jumped in to do a refinance with my credit union, the numbers didn't seem right. They redlined.
What do you mean the numbers didn't seem right? What do you mean about? Kind of elaborate on what do you mean by redlining?
Well, first, they sent the appraiser out to appraise my home.
Mm-hmm.
And when they sent the appraiser out, the numbers that they gave me that my house worth was all the way off. So with it being so low with the numbers they gave me, I couldn't get the funds
that you needed,
that I needed.
Because basically when you do a refinance, you get a percentage of what your house appraises for. Usually it's 70 to 80%. So if your house appraises for a lower amount than you anticipate, what happens is you get a lower amount on your loan, and therefore you can't do what you want to do if you have certain goals because your house didn't appraise. So what you're saying is the appraiser came out and he gave you a low ball appraisal?
Right. He
Really?
lowballed me. And I wasn't happy with the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So I happened to call my brother,
Mm-hmm.
and you were with him at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking, and you started to step in, but then you backed out. And we like, wait a minute, give us this information. Let us know what you got to sit and say. And me, all these years, you've been knowing me 30 plus years of my life. I never knew what you did.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you was like Tommy. So when you stepped in and you started giving the information, it was like a breath of fresh air. And you told me about the program, and you told me, well, here's the thing. You will have to pay to have your house appraised this time.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. And everything worked out wonderful for me.
Tell me some of the changes. I know we talked about, sending a new appraiser out because at that time I worked for a specific bank, which is local here in Western New York. It was a great bank, great people. And we all worked together. But one of the things that I want to kind of focus on is tell me about that conversation you and I had about when that appraiser shows up. What do you want to do? You want to maybe show him walking around, or you want to leave him alone? Or do you want to engage an appraiser and make sure he knows what's going on?
You want to engage him and walk around with him and let him see what's going on here, what you plan on doing, and so on and so forth.
That's exactly. One of the things that was very important is that we knew the issue going in. So again, at this particular bank, we had the wherewithal and the people in place to make sure that, that appraiser kind of knew what we were looking for. But more importantly, he gave you a fair and objective appraisal, which he did and allowed us to get you your loan.
And actually this time, the appraiser came out, it more than doubled with the first appraisal.
That's amazing.
So, and that was only within a matter of a month and a half. And it just blew me away.
And it doesn't always work out to where, you can go from one institution to another institution and have things work out the way things worked out for Kobie. But sometimes, if you have an experienced loan officer, they can make all the difference in the world. And again, what we want to encourage everyone to do is know your situation. If you're not going to get your mortgage statement right now to see what your mortgage rate is right now, you should be. Because again, You can't do anything right now, but preparation is really the most important thing here. If you know where you are right now and you see that rate go down in the newspaper, your best bet at that point is to always call either your bank or bank that you trust and get current rates and compare. And a rule of thumb is if you can save 2 points on your mortgage, it's worth it. Even with closing costs, it's worth it. So, Kobie, going back to you, describe the application process. When we put you through that application process, describe the ups and the downs of that whole process.
Well, the downs to it first was the fact that I'm not computer savvy. And it was information that I needed to transfer over through a portal. And Scott thought I was playing. He thought, you know how to do it. I'm like, Scott, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to transfer this. I don't know about computers. So Scott had to walk me through it. And once he walked me through it, it was easy because I had every piece of document that they required me to have. I didn't have to put them on hold to go find documents that was needed 2 and 3 weeks. They needed this. They needed A. I get to you in a couple of days. They needed B. Follow right up behind it. They need C. It's coming too. So I was on top of everything. I was able to put my hands on everything that I need to put my hands on at that time.
And that's really huge right there. You know, we're going to be doing, in our next episode, we're going to be doing a home buying seminar. So when you hear, we're doing a home buying seminar at this church, or we're doing a home buying seminar at this bank or this community center, we're going to be doing a home buying seminar right here. And you'll be able to watch it here. And we're also going to put it on our website so you can watch it anytime by going to our website, which is right along the bottom here, www.financialmatterswesternnewyork.com. You can go there and check out all our episodes. But if you need to look at a home buying seminar, if you're in the process of buying a house, take a look at our home buying seminar episode once we produce it and air it. And it's going to tell you all the information you're going to need for that process. But going back to you, one of the great things that you said, and you were actually being modest because you were a dedicated and diligent refinance customer because you were getting your documents to us within a day. You know what I mean? We were asking for stuff and you were getting it to us either the same day or the next day. And that's the kind of motivation customers need to get through the process. Because if you drag your feet, can you imagine how long that process would take? You know, you got us everything pretty much the next day and it still took 60 days?
Yeah, it was fairly quick.
60 days is not fairly quick. We want to see it quicker, but you can control your narrative in a refinance if you make sure you're getting your documentation to us in a timely manner. And most banks will have what they call an online portal, okay? And what that is, it's a portal that intakes documents, then organizes them and associates them to your file so the processor can see them immediately. What a lot of people like to do is say, oh, well, I'll just fax them over to you. Wrong. What you need to do is make sure that you're trying to learn how to use that portal because that portal is your lifeline. If you get documents there, they go right to the processor and you're off running. So that's a great point. And again, I think you're being a little modest because we didn't have one issue with your paperwork at all.
If you remember, that's the way I said, I'm going to fax it over.
You did say that. But, like I said, that's what we're there for. If you got an experienced mortgage loan officer, they can coach you on the fastest way to do things. And when you buck against what they try to tell you to do, we're never going to say, oh, no, we won't take your fax. But I guarantee you we're probably in the back of our mind thinking, oh boy, a fax. Now we got to go through that fax, sort it, scan it, and then put it in your portal when you could have just sent it through your portal right in the beginning. Today's show is on rates in the refinance market, hopefully coming back down to allow us all to take advantage of that next golden window of rate goodness. Illustration number 1, the power of a good mortgage interest rate. Buffalo Bob has 27 years left on his mortgage he took out in 2019 on his primary residence. His current mortgage balance is $180K at 6%. For this scenario, Bob's loan officer has told him Today's rates are at 2.5% on a 15-year mortgage and 3% on a 30-year refinance. Should Buffalo Bob refinance his home based on these rates? Let's do the math together. Currently, Bob has 27 years left on his mortgage. His principal and interest payment is $1,079.19. You add in his taxes, so his total monthly payment is $2,079.19 per month. If Bob were to look at the 15-year refinance, it would cut 12 years off his mortgage, thereby saving him 12 years of mortgage payments or over $249,000 in savings. His new balance would be $172,736.89 based on standard amortization. His principal and interest payment at 2.5% is $1,151.79, which is a slight bump from the $1,079.19. His taxes and insurance stay static at $1,000 per month, so his total payment with this refinance moving forward will be $2,151.16. But going back to the fact that he saves $249,000 over the course of this mortgage, this is a very strong option for Bob to take a look at. What we want to do now is kind of focus on the good stuff, the benefits. When you closed on your refinance, what were some of the benefits that you saw? What were some of the things that you were able to do once you closed?
Well, I was able to sit there and get some repairs done that I needed to take care of, pay some debt off.
So you got cash back?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got a check at closing.
Well, they sent it to me in the mail after I closed on a Monday or Tuesday, and the check was there the following week.
Really? Okay. So you got repairs done, you paid off some debt. So that lowered your debt. You were able to free up some money. So were you saving any money monthly because of paying?
Yeah, I'm saving money tremendous.
Okay.
It was like a breath of fresh air to have that debt up off of my back, and I could sit there and start saving more money than I was already saving.
Now, the last time we spoke previously, you brought up something that I thought was really important. You said you drew off of something in your house to pay off. Remember, you said when you pay on your house, you develop, what was that word you used? Was it equity? I think it was.
Equity, yeah.
Yeah.
Being there, a lot of people don't realize that your home is one of your biggest assets you have. And especially when you live there for a number of years, you develop equity in your home. And a lot of people's mentality is that I have to go to work, I have to save up this money to get these things done around my home. But when you build up that equity in your home after being there so many years, let your house work for you. And that's just what I did.
That's great information, because a lot of people have equity in their home they're not using. Remember, when you take a loan out on your home, the rates that you're going to get on your home are the lowest rates you'll get pretty much anywhere. In reference to credit card debt, in reference to installment loan debt, refinance rates and what they call home equity rates are going to be some of the most favorable rates you're going to get, especially on the refinance side. And rolling into that, tell me why you chose a refinance over a home equity. And let me explain both of them before I roll into it. With a refinance, you're lowering your rate on your mortgage, but you're paying closing costs. So it's like you're redoing your home mortgage. But if you can lower your rate, that's the most indicative factor that is most relevant in a refinance, trying to get that lower rate. Okay. With the HELOC, you're doing exactly what Kobie said. You're drawing off your equity, but it's an additional loan. Your mortgage stays the same. But the HELOC sits on what they call your title as a second, okay? And what that means is if you were to sell that house, you got to pay your mortgage off, which is sitting in the first position. Then you got to pay your home equity off, which is sitting in the second. So tell me why you chose to get a refinance over a home equity.
Well, it was simple mathematics for me. One, it lowered my interest rate.
Perfect. Yep.
Big time. And two, I didn't want to have two mortgages that I was going to be paying. I mean, it was a no-brainer.
That's a great point. because when you do something like this, you got to remember this new refinance or this new home equity is tied to your house. So the last thing you want to do is default, because at the end of the day, I would be remiss not to say, if you go out and refinance and then you go out and get another car and you go out and do something else and you spend some more money over here, you could put yourself in jeopardy of losing your home. So you need to be careful. And one of the great things that Kobie just said was he wanted to shrink his debt. And that's the mindset you want to have. If you have that mindset going into a refinance, you're almost not guaranteed, but it's a good chance you're going to save money every month. And it's a good chance that you're going to free up money for other things. But what you don't want to do is be extravagant and get other things because your mortgage payment was lowered. And now you replace that with all kinds of other debt. Never a good idea. So great point, Kobie. So my last question really is a simple one. For the people who are out there, and I'm sure there are some people that know refis inside and out. But there are people watching right now like, I don't know. I like my mortgage the way it is. Even if I'm at 6 or 7%, or 8, 9%, some people are at. What would you tell these people who are on the fence that really just, are leery about jumping into doing a refinance? What would you tell them to kind of get them to even consider doing this?
Well, one thing I would sit there tell them for sure is to don't be nervous, don't be scared, especially if you can get that lower rate. That lower rate is the key to everything. That it'll help you sit there, just ease your mind, because when you get that lower rate, it brings down that payment. And then it also, what I left out, it also knocks off some years off your mortgage. So those are important. That was the no-brainers for me. And it was a simple, let's go ahead and do it for me.
And earlier in the show, we showed you a scenario for Bob. In that scenario, we talked about Bob having 27 years left on his mortgage. And basically, was Bob right for a refinance, which we showed you the numbers. He was. He went from, just like Kobie said, Bob was able to go from 27 years to 15 years. That's 12 years of payments that Bob that he no longer has to pay. That is huge. When you're doing a refinance, if you can go from that scenario to the 15-year scenario, your payment usually will go up $100 or $200, but cutting 12 years off your mortgage is huge, and the fact that, people are doing this left and right. Unfortunately, the rates are at a spot where it's very difficult to refinance right now. And again, I reiterate, this show is when the rates go back down. We want to prepare you for that juncture. When those rates go back down, or when they go back down, you need to be ready. And the first thing you need to do is know the rule of thumb. 2 points. If you can get 2 points off your rate, a refinance is usually going to be worth it. But your best bet is to always call your local bank, speak to a mortgage loan officer, and make sure that whatever numbers that they work out work for you, and it can help you save money every month moving forward. With that, what I want to do is thank Kobie for coming out. I really appreciate it. Again, if you want a copy of this show, you're going to go to www.financialmatterswesternnewyork.com. It's flashing across the lower end of the screen. And we are going to have all our episodes there. There's going to be 6 of them. And after that, we're going to be pretty much done. But we will have a dialogue box on our website. Not a lot of information. It's just going to be who's going to be answering your question, and then a spot for your question. And then we're also later in the show going to give you 2 trivia questions that we're going to be giving out $10 Amazon gift cards for. So if you get the question right, you go on a drawing for the gift card. We'll send it out. We'll send it directly out to you. So with that, we're going to close up everything.
Let me just thank you, Scott.
Sorry about that.
Let me just thank you for allowing me to come on your program to share my experience with the people. You didn't have to reach out to me, but you did, and it was greatly appreciated, man.
Oh man,
everything that you did
from beginning
to now.
That is not an issue, man. I think, one of the things that we don't know how many people we're going to get on the show. I'm gonna be real. We don't know how many people we're going to get watching this show, but we are going to give good information out. And the information that you gave today, you know what I mean? People need to hear that. I got another young person that's doing the mortgage, and this brother he cuts hair. And I'm so proud of him, because when you get good customers, it energizes us as mortgage loan officers. Because sometimes we get customers, oh, why do I got to give you a copy of my W-2? Oh, why do I got to give you a pay stub? I can't even find some of the documents you're asking for. When you got to deal with that, and then you get a customer like you who's on top of it, you know what I mean? You said breath of fresh air. That's a breath of fresh air for us. But also, we get paid on numbers. If you got a customer that's willing to work with you, we get you through, get you what you want, or on to the next person. But at the end of the day, you got to know that you're looking for a refinance. A year ago, I did a lot of refinances. I did them in Amherst, Williamsville, some in Buffalo, but not nearly enough in Buffalo. Not nearly enough of Buffalo residents took advantage of national rates and save that money. I can guarantee you right now, there's somebody sitting in Western New York in the Buffalo area with a 7, 8, 9, 10, 11% interest rate. I've seen it. So if you're one of those folks, we are imploring you to take action, look at your rate, call your bank. I'm a mortgage loan officer. My number is readily available on the website, but you don't have to call me. You can call anybody you feel comfortable with, but get that money. Save that money on your monthly payment, put that money in your pocket, and keep it moving. Shave time off your mortgage, because just imagine your house being paid off. I just recently paid my house off, and it's a blessing. It's a blessing to be able to do the things that you want to do because you don't have a mortgage hanging over your head. So listen, bringing you on, not an issue at all. Matter of fact, I might bring you back.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
On that note, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.